Donald Trump has the same thought process and mentality as the Nazis, but not in the way you think. You see, during World War II, the Nazis focused a lot of their attention on developing Wunderwaffe, or super weapons. These weapons were colossal and intimidating and therefore could put on a good show. As a result, the Nazis thought that these weapons could be used to boost morale for their side while instilling fear into the enemy. Of course, the Nazis would learn the hard way that having the biggest, scariest, and flashiest weapons isn't the most efficient solution. I mean, they were spending tons of resources on super heavy tanks that were too heavy for most bridges at the time, colossal railway guns that had limited movement and an extremely slow firing rate that required tons of men to operate, and rockets that were extremely expensive and inaccurate. And these solutions and inefficient use of resources is what heavily contributed to the Nazis losing World War II. Now, how does this relate to Trump? Because Trump, like the Nazis, focuses more on intimidation, flashiness, and the show rather than efficiency. For example, Trump wanted to build a giant imposing wall on the US-Mexican border in order to intimidate anyone trying to get into the country, and because he and his supporters thought it looked cool, even though it didn't work and it was a waste of resources. Seeing how many people were easily able to bypass or penetrate it, or how it didn't address the fact that many people entered the country by claiming asylum. Another example would be Trump sending in the National Guard to various cities in order to deal with crime so he can put on a show of force and tell everyone who's boss. Even though it's not the most efficient or effective solution, for military forces aren't suited for law enforcement and in fact can make crime problems in cities even worse. Or how about Trump's mass deportation policies and tactics, which he uses to intimidate illegal immigrants and to keep his base energized? Well, Trump's deportation tactics are broad, highly visible, loud, indiscriminate, and very aggressive. Meanwhile, Obama's deportation policies were overall specific, tactical, and most importantly, covert. Because Obama was overall quiet and covert with his deportation policies, deportation opponents were therefore not as energized to resist him like they are under Trump. And remember, Obama was called the deporter-in-chief and has deported more people annually than Trump has. So it looks like flashy, intimidating raids out in the middle of the open for everyone to see isn't the most efficient deportation tactic. So what can Trump and the Nazis both teach us? It's that being loud, flashy, intimidating, and entertaining isn't many times the most efficient solution to a problem.